Hi everyone, and thanks very much for having a look at this video today. If you've looked at other videos on my channel, you'll see that the videos I do are usually of cars that we've owned, whether that be myself, my partner, my dad, a member of the family. And today I'm doing a video of my dad's Citroën Berlingo 1.6 16 valve Forte, and I think it's a little bit unusual for a few reasons, which I'll come on to during the video. So hopefully you'll stick with me till the end, and also do feel free to have a look at the other videos that I've done on other cars that we've owned. You'll get a bit of an idea for the kind of cars that we like. So this Berlingo that we've got here is Dad's early 2005. It's a January registration Citroën Berlingo Forte. It's the 16 valve 1.6, so it's about 110 horsepower, 5-speed manual gearbox, and it's got the very rare option of an electric sliding fabric roof, which I think is quite a quirky thing. Citroën did it because it was sort of to hark back to when you could get a Citroën 2CV, you know, when they had fabric roofs. But of course, they weren't electric or anywhere near as sort of modern, were they? But ultimately, you could buy, back in the day, in 2005, you could option your Citroën Berlingo with an electric sliding fabric roof, and it really is kind of open air motoring, but with quite a difference. So this is, as I say, this is our Berlingo. Let me tell you a bit more about it. It's in great condition. Now we actually, well, we bought it a couple of years ago, and it's never been, we've not used it as an everyday vehicle. We bought it because we like going to classic car shows. In fact, we're actually here at one today, at a place called Astley Park in Chorley, in Lancashire, and we've brought our vehicles to sort of display them and share our interest with other classic enthusiasts. Now you're going to probably say, well, this is only a 21-year-old Berlingo, but it's surprising how much attention it gets, with it being a little bit quirky. You know, the roof for one, the condition that it's in, and the fact that it's only done, well, it's just under 24,000 miles, you know, for a 21-year-old car. Now there is, I think I've probably mentioned a few times in this video that it is a bit of an interest, a bit of a quirky one. For most of its life, until, well, I think it's about the first 17 years, a lady, Rosemary, was the one and only owner for that period, and she was a millionairess who lived just a short stroll from the Thames, in the centre of London. She bought it new, specifically ordering that option of that roof. In fact, I've actually spoken to the guy that was the managing director, in fact the actual owner of Lovekin Citroën, who she actually bought it off. The gentleman actually started importing Citroëns as a bit of a sideline in the late 60s, made such a success of it, the Lovekin, both number plates have the same original logos on it, the original number plates. The gentleman I spoke to, who, as I say, started Lovekin, not known as Lovekin at the time, but started importing Citroëns in the late 60s. Actually met his wife that way. We had quite a good chat on the phone. Really interesting, fascinating guy. And basically, eventually, after bringing in so many, Citroën got wind of this and because he was buying them second hand and bringing them over the channel. Citroën got wind of this and basically ended up having a dealership, and this was bought from his the lady bought this one from him, took it back for many years back to them for the servicing, not clocking up very many miles at all, of course, with it only now being on 24,000. And every journey that she did, she wrote down in little books. Now we are going to sell this car soon, and if you're watching this via a link from a selling site, such as, I think I'm probably going to put it on eBay and Car and Classic, you'll see that there are photos with the advert showing those little books. But every single journey she did, including journeys to France, interestingly, journeys which implies she had more than one property, because she refers to her home address, not as home, but as actually the actual start of the address. And then another location she refers to as the cottage, implying to me that if you had only one home, you'd just refer to you were driving home. But to refer to it as a certain address and then another place as cottage, which is actually what she put, makes me think there wasn't just one property. And as I say, I do know from when she passed away that she actually was a millionairess. So I think quite a strange car for somebody with some means to own, but she clearly loved her car because she kept it in great condition. Let me show you around a little bit. I mentioned it's had the rare option of that roof. It's also got some beautiful alloys on it, each one being in superb condition. Let's just have a quick look round, shall we? Whilst we're talking about them, we'll go around each one. So today, as I say, we've brought the car to this show because that's one of our passions, car shows. You'll see from my YouTube channel other vehicles that we've owned, other vehicles that Dad's owned, but they're not all on there that we've owned over the years. We've also had a Bedford Rascal van, if you know what those are. If you don't, have a look on YouTube for Bedford Rascal van. I've put that on a separate YouTube channel. It's a blue one that we had, registration G65UHU. Have a look at that. You'll hear my dulcet tones telling you about that. It was quite a special van I should say, because it had never been used as a workhorse, but more on that in the video. So it'll give you the kind of idea of the calibre of vehicle we like to own. You'll also see on this channel my dad's Rover 75 that we sold in August 2025, last year, because I'm filming this in May 26. Again, that 75 was I mean, I'm going to be biased, it was our car, but when we were buying it, I said to Dad, if you want a 75, in my opinion, you want to try and buy the best you can. And I feel that what we bought was one of the best. You can judge for yourself if you have a look on the video on this same YouTube channel. You have a look for yourself. That, of course, we sold last year. So we sold that because Dad's heart is really in pre-war. We bought this 2 years ago because it was just quirky, and it has proved that it's given, brought some attention. And again, Dad's never used this as his everyday vehicle. He's always kept it garaged like he did with the Rover 75. But the time has come for it to go, and Dad wants something like a pre-war Austin 10, preferably one with a chrome rad. Anyway, that's enough about chrome radiator, by the way, I mean there. Let's show you a little bit inside. So it is going on sale soon. Now, I think this is a little quirky. You make your own judgment on them, but the seat covers, the seats underneath are understandably, well, I would class them as like new. You make your own decisions there. But yeah, let's call them unusual, shall we? Let's have a look in the back. Little storage pockets above the back doors. You'll see the rear windows, all four, the two on the sliding doors and the two in the very back, have got mesh blinds on them. They simply unclip or clip in. You'll see how vast the roof is. I mean, it's fantastic on a day like today, but it still keeps the car, warm on, colder days. I've got the headrests in the down position. Of course, if you were carrying passengers, you'd push each one of those up, so that's supporting the head, not digging into the back. Original mats, and of course, as you may be aware, storage compartments, two of them in the back. In the front, Citroën rubber mats. with the correct Citroën carpet mats underneath at both sides. CD player, that's a modification. It is an original CD player for a Citroën of this age. We also have the cassette player that this actually was provided with from new. Same design, but a cassette, not a CD. So both are with the car. You'll see, of course, we've got electric windows, remote locking, that kind of thing. Something I find really quirky, of course, no adjuster here because you've got a switch. But that switch doesn't say L or R for left or right because there's only one electric mirror. If you want to adjust it on the driver's side, you just twiddle that little knob. Okay. Oh, probably cost cutting, but it just makes me smile that something, you know, they've not put 2 electric door mirrors on. No, you're just getting 1. But I think you'll agree, or you may not, that it's in beautiful condition. But for the mileage, just under 24,000, we wouldn't really expect anything else. Now I just want to open the boot, so I'm probably going to need 2 hands. So you've got the, I would class that as a luggage, not cover, net is the word I'm looking for, thinking on my feet there. Just fold the parcel shelf up. That bag contains some more seat covers in there. You've got a rubber floor mat on top of the original rubber floor underneath. Sorry, there's my gloves. We have them in case we ever need to change the spare wheel, although we actually haven't. That, with like a lot of French cars of this period, is winched down under here because the wheel, if you can see it, is under there. If you're familiar with the French products of this era, that won't come as any surprise. Great little shelter we find on summer days when we're at car shows, because it's such a massive tailgate, you can really just stand under here and keep in the shade. There's your rear shade sort of blinds. There's 2 there, there's a split down the middle. Let's just cover the, put the parcel shelf back. When I'm at car shows, if I'm around, I like the car to look as smart as possible, so I'm a little bit fussy on presenting our vehicles. So let's just pull this down. So as I say, this is going to go on sale because Dad isn't using it. He's done very little miles between this last year. He's had an MOT, I think, about a month ago, and he's just not using it. As I say, Dad's heart is in pre-war. So whilst we haven't found something just yet that floats Dad's boat, we are sort of getting ready for, or rather Dad's getting ready for me ultimately finding him something. So I've mentioned that every journey, the lady's name was Rosemary, every journey she made, she's put in these little books. It's quite an interesting read if you've got an hour of your life. In fact, there's actually not just 1 book, there's 2. Let me just show you inside here. You know, great condition in all of these, all around the doors. Everything's just, you know, it's had little use. You know, she hardly used it over the years. As I say, she lived not far off. Well, when I've looked online, she lived not even, I would say, 1/4 mile from the Thames. So you've got just the final few things to protect the rear bumper. You'll see there's the really nice trim along there, which I think goes really well with the matching roof rails and sets it off with the beautiful alloys. I think it's a lovely colour of red. Of course, very shiny, has not, because of it, perhaps helped because of its mileage, has not gone pink, has not needed, you know, buffing up, nothing like that needed. I don't think we've actually needed to polish it in the 2 years we've had it, and we have used it. It's not just sat in the garage for 2 years. It has been out and about, but we've not needed to polish it. The paintwork's in such way, it just shines so nicely. So there you go. I think that's about everything I can tell you about the Berlingo. As I say, have a look online at other things that we've owned, like the Rover 75. It was a really smart example. I'm going to say that because it was our car, but we loved that car. However, it's not what Dad ultimately wants. Dad wants to relive memories of a number of years ago when we had an Austin 7, and then we had a Wolseley Wasp, if anybody knows what a Wolseley Wasp is. 10 out of 10 for that one. But yeah, we had a 19, I think it was 37 Austin 7 Ruby. That at that age would have a painted radiator, not a chrome one. Dad's heart is in that. He would like to sort of relive some memories of when him and my late mum used to go out and park up on Lord Street in Southport. If you know the area, you'll know it's a big shopping street. They'd park up there, take a picnic, have a brew. Sometimes people would come over chatting. For those of you that are my friends will be agreeing with me 100% that my dad loves to chat to people. He chats to people more than what I talk, and those that know me well know exactly what my dad's like. He just loves a good natter with people. Sometimes coming up for air, sometimes not. But that's my dad, and yeah, that's his quirks. So I think really, we'll have one last look inside, and then I think really we'll call it to an end. And thanks for sticking with me for the last 17 minutes. I have just thought of something else I will just mention to you. Standard things that you'd find on a lot of Citroëns from this era is you've got controls for the radio, which of course would work whether it's the CD player that's in the dash or the cassette player. It would still work the radio and do the volume and so on and so forth. Lovely, quite nice having sort of white silverish dials. Of course, under this seat, it's absolutely, let's just check. I think, hopefully you'd agree, that is in superb condition. But again, we would expect this, wouldn't we, with a car that's done the low mileage that it has. I don't think we've gone in at this side to show you, so let's just open up this side. That's it. The rubber liner that's underneath the additional rubber boot floor, the rubber liner comes right through to here. Let's just have a look what it's like around here. If we had kept it longer, I think this is a contender for being on show at the Festival of the Unexceptional. If you're not familiar with that, have a look online. It's coming up in the next few months, I think. Well, it's certainly in the next few months. I'm just not sure when. I think it might be July, because it's such a run-of-the-mill car that people, I would think, would not normally cherish. I would say this is a great vehicle to take down there. If we still have it then, perhaps we might, but our priority really is looking for an Austin 10 or something along those lines. We've got the control for the electric roof up there, together with a directional map light, which I find is quite basic, but it does the job. So I might as well just tell you about that. I think there's just one bulb behind here, and when you've got, I think it's when you've got the ignition on, when you move that, it seems to move a blind that like covers up one lens and opens up the other. So I think there's just one bulb, and when you switch that one way or the other, it switches the bulb on and covers the other lens up. So I think there's only one bulb behind there, but it works. And then of course that's to work your electric roof. You can see how great this is. Well, it is in my opinion. There you go. So I would just like to say thanks very much for sticking with me. It's now been 20 minutes. Oh, one last little thing. All of these rear windows, all of these hinge there and pop out here. So if we just shut that door, no Larry Grayson jokes, thanks, and you'll see, so that was that door, and now this one hinges here and opens there, just with a catch. Both sides of course are the same, and you can have that open and still slide the door back. Of course Citroën did think, you know, that might happen, so you don't actually, you know, you can have both open. The door won't catch that when that's open. So on that note, let's shut it up. I know the other door's open, but thank you very much for watching. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great day. It's lovely weather here we're in Chorley, as I've said, at Astley Park. Thanks very much for your time, and if you're looking at this because you're interested in perhaps buying it, and therefore you've seen one of the listings online, then get in touch, have a chat with us, and yeah, thanks very much for your time. Okay, see you now, bye bye.